Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today, and I have another review for The X-Files, this time for Season 2. I finished this on about, I think, Wednesday or Thursday last week, before the 4th of July, and I've got some thoughts. I've got some really hardcore thoughts that fans of The X-Files, like myself, are not going to like. Now, as I talked about in my review for Season 1 just before this video, I grew up watching the reruns of this show on Sci-Fi Channel around 2005, 2006, 7, 8, and I loved it. But I suspect that the reruns I saw were probably from Season 3 onward. I don't think I've seen any of these episodes or Season 1's episodes, but I always loved X-Files. I always thought it was really fun and a cool show. And Season 2, going from Season 1 and how it was getting more and more promising, I had a lot of episodes I loved, like Beyond the Sea, a good season finale. I didn't know what was going to happen with this season, and it's a very mixed bag. I would say leaning towards the side of more negative than good, the opposite of Season 1. I would flip it around almost and say that there's about 30% of good episodes in here, maybe closer to 25%, and like a good 75% of total awful, boring shit and unsatisfactory stories. Now, Season 2 does the same thing of the Monster of the Week stuff, like the first season, like X-Files in general, but also having some scattered episodes that deal with lore and mythology of the show, and that's cool. The myth episodes, to me, are not that great here. That's just me. There's some cool stuff done with like the season finale and everything, and that's about it. But this season kicks off with the news from the end of the first season that the X-Files department was going to be shut down by the FBI. One excuse for this is that Dana Scully's actress, Gillian Anderson, was actually pregnant in real life, so she needed some time for leave and whatnot, and they do that. So she's kind of barely in the episodes for like the first 5 or 7 episodes of the show, and Mulder and Scully are kind of split up because the X-Files department doesn't exist anymore in the beginning of this season. Eventually it comes back around, they go back to their whole Monster of the Week thing together, but a lot of it they don't. And I kind of miss that camaraderie between the two. It's kind of Mulder on his own most of the time. But it's not completely terrible in those regards. That setup, I feel like, is just, they had to do that because of Gillian Anderson being pregnant. I get it. But it still bothers me that that gets in the way of so many productions of TV shows and whatnot. It really gets in the way on this one. It's not like they wrote the baby into the show or anything. You know what I mean? And I'm cool about that too. I don't want that either for this. But it gets in the way. It makes the show trip a lot. But there is some fairly good episodes in here, and there are some absolutely awful episodes in this season that I will try to hit on them when I can. A lot of them I've deleted from my brain. I don't care if I just finished the season on Wednesday or Thursday or whatever. A lot of the bad stuff, the really bad episodes that I sat through anyway, I've had to delete from my brain. My brain just did not care enough. It would shut my whole brain down, basically, to avoid having to pay attention to it. So, one of the episodes everybody loves is called The Host. It's the second episode of the season. It started out cool to me. It's got a cool monster design in it, but I really don't like the episode that much. It feels just as goofy, if not worse, than Season 1's bad episodes do, in my opinion. Let's see. Duane, Barry, and Ascension, episodes 5 and 6, are kind of a back-to-back two-parter, And I really like those. I recommend those a lot. Probably some of the best episodes of the season for me. And then we move on to, right after that, probably the worst episode of the season, just simply called 3. It is horrifically bad. I'm not even going to go into that episode. I think it was the one dealing with vampires. Oh my god, dude. It took a lot for me to get through that episode. There are mistakes in the episode, in the filmmaking itself, in the editing of the show. It's truly awful. It is, I would say it's worse than the space episode from Season 1 that everybody trashes because of CGI and stuff. At least that one felt cold and moody, you know what I mean? 3 is all like Fox falling in love with the sexy chick vampire or whatever, and I hate this shit. I can't even tell you more about it without going into a total rant, so I won't do that. The next episode after, it's really good. It's called One Breath. It involves Scully. There is some stuff involving the aliens and Scully in here. I don't want to give any of it away, but there is some stuff here. And I really like that episode. One Breath was really eerie. It was kind of meandering, but it was still an eerie, dreamlike experience that you never really see on TV outside of Twin Peaks, which I'm not a fan of. But it really had a lot to offer here, and I really dug that, so definitely check out that episode too. But the Duane Barry two-parter, for me, is better. That's just me. There's one in here called Red Museum involving a cult in a town that Mulder and Scully have to go investigate. It's kind of like a serial killer killing different people in that cult. Really good episode. I like that one a whole lot too. That's one of the few that I dug in here. The next one after that started out pretty okay, and then it just fell apart for me. It's called Excelsis D, or Die. Basically, there was some chick who got raped by an invisible man. And it's almost played up on this borderline humorous comedy, but at the same time serious. It was very strange for an X-Files concept, and I'm not surprised that it was not received very positively, but I didn't hate it. I actually thought it started out pretty good and wasn't too horrible by the end of it. That's just my opinion. Maybe controversial to feel that way about this episode with the subject matter given, but I thought it was cool for what it was, so take it or leave it. Let's see. I don't really see much else that I liked, per se. Another horrible episode. Fearful Symmetry, episode 18. Invisible animals. Particularly, invisible elephants. It is so awful. Do you remember in the 90s when you had these really heavy-handed, like, political shows or political episodes of shows in the sense of, like, protecting animals like they're people and, like, in a weird, unfair way. Like, in how weird vegans get, you know what I mean? Like, that's what this episode is like. I love animals. I'm not saying don't protect them, but I'm saying the way some vegans talk about animals, that's what this episode was like. It involved that. It involved jokes about that, matter of fact. But it was so heavy-handed and preachy. It was an awful episode. And the invisible elephants thing where they just stomp through the city, dude, you don't want to do that. Don't watch that episode. Don't do it. Okay. Let's see. Humbug is usually one that people love. I fucking hate it. Pretty much every one of them after that I hated. The last disc had the season finale and 4 episodes before that on there. Pretty much every episode but the season finale I hated. That's just me. The finale itself, I think it has some cool eventful stuff in it. I don't want to tell you anything too much about it. It has some eventful stuff in it, but it's still not that good to me. I still think I prefer most of what I saw in season 1 to the overall season 2, aside from a few things like the Duane Barry two-parter. Or the One Breath episode with Scully. But outside of that, there's just a lot of stuff I don't care about. There's one episode in here involving a submarine that's actually here on the cover. That's not really the submarine, but it's kind of it. Involving that, and like I think it was a Norwegian submarine or something, I don't know. That one was one of the more myth episodes. People seem to really like that one. I thought it was boring and thought that it was kinda watchable towards the end of it, involving that particular scene. That's it. That's really all I have to say. I thought the season sucked ass. I thought it had nothing to offer. I thought it was boring as shit the entire time, pretty much. Even on the good episodes, they would have just too much talking. X-Files is guilty of that. I talked about that in my review for season 1. It's tending to be guilty of talking too much, but not to the quality extent of something like The Twilight Zone. Or even The Night Gallery from Rod Serling, who made Twilight Zone, if you've ever seen The Night Gallery. I don't know if you have, but if you have, you know what I mean. Like, even a show like that that's not that eventful kind of has a lot of talking, but it's still mildly entertaining for what they're doing there. This season of X-Files was so guilty of not doing that properly, at least the way season 1 did. I will say, though, I will report this much. I'm on season 3. I'm about 3 or 4 episodes in. totally improved on that. I think people are right when they say a lot of the time that season 1 through 5 or 1 through 6 are the best parts of the show and then it just dive bombs into terrible. People are not entirely wrong, but in my personal opinion, what I'm seeing already, I think season 3 is the best one. That's just me, just saying. So skip around. If you're watching an episode, if you're in the middle of an X-Files episode and you don't like it, just turn it off. Go to the next one on Hulu or whatever you're watching it on, DVD, I don't care. Do that because you will be so thankful you did because of how common, especially in season 2, that an episode will be so awful and so fucking stupid. You'll feel much better, I promise you. So don't regret that, okay? Anyway, the X-Files season 2, I hate it, obviously. If I had to rate it on a 5-star basis, there's very, very few good episodes in here. I'd give it like a 2 out of 5 stars. Sorry for being so repetitive, but I had to make that clear that you need to prep yourself. If you really enjoyed season 1, season 2 is rough, man. It's really rough. It almost feels like it's rough in the sense of like a writer's strike. I don't know if there was a writer's strike when the show came out, but I refuse to believe that the Dana Scully pregnancy, Gillian Anderson pregnancy, thing affected this show as bad as it did. I don't think that could have been the one doing all the damage there. I feel like there's a bunch of behind-the-scenes shit that happened, or something. I don't know. Maybe Chris Carter didn't know what direction he wanted to take the show. I have no clue. But I've seen shows that I loved also at the same time, even before I saw X-Files when I was a kid, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, that I thought was good from beginning to end of what I saw of it. Every episode I saw as a kid, I loved the show. So I don't know. I feel like Buffy will be more of my thing whenever I get back into trying it out sometime. But season 2 of X-Files, dude, it really almost made me quit the show for a little bit and wait to go to season 3. I'm glad I didn't. Not that I'll have a review up for season 3 anytime soon, but yeah. I'm going to take my time because I don't want to get bad episode after bad episode like I did with season 2. Anyway, what do you think about season 2? What's your worst episode, your favorite episode? I'd love to hear all that down below. Thank you all for watching, guys. Thank you for being patient with me, and thank you for sitting through a repetitive review, like I said. God bless you guys. What's your favorite season of X-Files 2? Maybe I'll review it here soon. I don't know. But thank you all. God bless you again. Catch you later, and goodbye.